Hello, my name is Jemai Eccles, and today we'll be going over the prevention campaign known as To Heal and Help Heal. So, prevention is a highly multifaceted topic. It is imperative to note that the signs of impending domestic or family violence may vary just as much as the strategies for prevention themselves. So, when we think about all the different forms of violence and how it arises, such as like mental, physical abuse, or things such as that sort, we have to understand that there can be so many different ways to approach a situation. Uh, because addressing something such as physical abuse may take a different approach or prevention strategy than mental or verbal. Now, prevention refers to the use of broader social change efforts to stop family violence before it occurs through such actions like media campaigns, social support, or educational programs. And we will talk about how all three of those can be um, brought about within our particular prevention strategy. So, the prevention strategy chosen, right? Is going to be to address physical, intimate partner violence within adults, the criminal, and it's going to be known as the criminal justice co-ed intervention. This is a fusion of the criminal justice response and college level classes. Moreover, it's an amalgamation of both primary and secondary prevention strategies. So, the reason for this is when designing the prevention strategy, um, it became necessary to incorporate both secondary and primary strategies in order to achieve a more far-reaching effect. I don't want to give away too much because as we get deeper into the presentation, we begin to understand why. So, secondary uh, is going to be described as a level that targets individuals and families who are either at risk for developing the problem but have not experienced it yet, or they are at the initial stages of the problem. And primary is described as a level directed at the general population to reach the most people, and it is proactive as it is directed. And it focuses on strengthening the population's abilities throughout the provision of various services. Okay, so keeping in mind that this is going to be a fusion, now we're going to kind of go into more as to why. So, the goals of our prevention strategy. Um, let's first take a look at abusers. While criminal justice intervention is often necessary, there's an observable lack of college level classes and therapeutic services to minimize the chances of offending through institutionalization and maximizing rehabilitation. Since this is preventative, the location may serve as a constant reminder of the ultimatum. So, what we mean by that is typically when you have someone who is an abuser or has the propensity to be one, we typically focus on the more punitive aspects of how to correct the behavior instead of rehabilitative. And oftentimes that results in a failure to locate the root of the issue as to why they are abusive or lean towards abusive tendencies. Um, so, with this being a preventative strategy, we would like to see these classes and the therapeutic services offered within the setting of a criminal justice center. And the reason for this is to um, have in the constant, as they're participating and being engaged with the content, we want there to be like a constant reminder of what the other option or what the other choice could be, aka jail, if you are not fully present and fully participating and getting what you need to out of the services. Now, when it comes to victims or potential victims, it is going to be of paramount importance to support them. And the hope is that while they attend any classes or resources made available to them, that they can rest assured their abuser or partner, potential abuser, whatever the situation may be, is educated as to why their actions are deplorable. So, a lot of the times, there seems to be this unfair emphasis placed on victims or those who could become victims. And, they're receiving services, rightfully so. However, a lot of the time, I'm sure they're left wondering, well, I'm going through all these classes and I'm trying to do all the personal work to heal. What is there to assure me that my partner or my abuser is going to learn anything? Um, and for those who wish to stay in their relationships, we understand that reconciliation is not always possible. However, with the format of this approach, the hope is that there would be more confidence with the setting being in a criminal justice center, that the abusive partner or the partner who has the propensity to be abusive is being fully engaged and not being forced, but being encouraged to participate and be engaged with the content so that they actually walk away with a greater understanding. Um, Now, the intentions and motive behind this, while it is completely understandable why reconciliation is not always possible, an additional intended impact is to facilitate a cohesive co parenting environment for children who may be caught in the middle. So, reconciliation is not always possible, nor is it always deserved, and rightfully so. People should have the autonomy to exit relationships as they please. However, when there is a child who is an independent being in and of themselves, it's not really fair to skip doing the work to be able to provide a cohesive environment for co-parenting or whatever it may be. Um, Now, we also have to acknowledge that once again, this just may not be possible depending on the situation. Um, but taking a family-centered approach, um, if both partners are willing to try and there seems like there is some hope of prevention or rehabilitation, then this model is designed to maximize the opportunity. And the overall goal of this strategy, like we've talked about throughout, is to simultaneously educate and engage in therapeutic services with abusers and victims. So, in addition to the therapeutic services, we also want to make sure community resources are being offered to both the abusers and the victims, because outside of the classes they may be attending or the support groups, we want to make sure that there are resources such as the three we mentioned earlier, like, for example, social media campaigns, right? If we are disseminating information across social media, we can then ensure that maybe somebody who doesn't have the opportunity to leave their home and may feel kind of trapped with their abuser. Well, one thing we know is that phones aren't really always seen as suspicious. They can in some instances, but typically we know that it's not going to raise any red flags if an individual has their phone per usual. So if they were to come across the campaign on social media and see all the information that's been brought about regarding their situation, that might bring about a realization to them like, well, wow, I've been wondering if what I've been experiencing constitute um, abuse or if it's borderline abuse. So just getting that information out and the resources out in different ways, different settings is what's really important. And all these multifaceted points is why we would call this approach an amalgamation uh, overall. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have enjoyed this presentation.